Well, the Apostle Peter said in his first letter, I need to remind you of things that you already know. And I have learned over the years that it is important for us to be reminded of what we already know. Because the problem is not that we don't know enough, it's that we forget what we know. And one story that my brother Don and I remember when we were little boys illustrates that truth for us. When we were about 8 and 5, we loved to go to the movies on Saturday. And so one Saturday we said to our mother, can we go to the movies today? Because Johnny Mac Brown, another one of our favorite cowboys, was in the show that day. And she said, no, you can't go. And of course,
we whined a little.
We whined just a little bit and said, oh, Mama, please, please. She said, no, it's too far. I mean, you know, we're about 6 blocks away from the theater, and I don't like you boys walking there by yourself. But we just whined a little bit more and begged a little, and we said, please, please. Johnny Mac Brown is one of our favorite cowboys. And then she said, well, I tell you what, I'll let you go if you will be sure and call me when you get to the show. And Miss Louise Mask, who owned the theater, she had a phone right there by the ticket counter, and she would let boys call their mothers and say, you come pick me up, or I got here okay. So we knew we could do that. So we said, okay, let's don't forget now. So we started walking to the theater, and Don said,
we need to call Mama when we get to the show.
And I said, that's right, call Mama when we get to the show. And he said,
call Mama when we get to the show.
And then we suddenly realized that that kind of had a sing-song rhyme to it. So we started saying, call Mama when we get to the show. 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 And we said it all the way. We sang it and we said it all the way to the theater. And when we got to the ticket counter to buy our ticket, we were still saying, call Mama when you get to the show. Call Mama when we get to the show. And then we walked on in and we got our sucker. We always got above a big nickel sucker. And we got our candy. And we started on into the theater, and we were still saying, call Mama when we get to the show. Call Mama when we get to the show. And we went on and we sat down in our seat. And sitting down in our seat, we were still saying very quietly, because Miss Louise didn't allow people to talk. And we were saying, call Mama when we get to the show. Call Mama when we get to the show. And then the movie started, and we got quiet then, and we were sitting there eating our sucker and watching the movie, and it was just about time for Johnny Mac Brown to come on. And all of a sudden, Miss Louise came down the aisle, and she said, boys, boys. And we both looked over at her like, what? We knew we wasn't doing anything. And she said, come with me. And we said, okay. And we got up and we followed. We said, what's wrong? She said, your mama is out in the lobby and she is very angry. And we said, we didn't call Mama when we got to the show. And so it is possible and even likely for people to memorize Bible verses, sing Bible verses, and never practice those Bible verses. So I just encourage you to remember what you've learned and then put it into practice.